Shall we do Inner World?
Yes, as long as you don't do that voice every time.
But the thing
just
is...
say Inner World. It's just fine. Inner
okay,
World.
in a way, the whole Inner World thing doesn't make any sense if you don't go Inner World. Okay, so
it's about voiceover artists.
Yes, it's very specifically about voiceover artists in a world where Don LaFontaine is gone, is now in heaven, doing Inner World, and he was
He's in heaven.
Yes, Don LaFontaine is passed on. He was the person who started doing that whole Inner World thing, and now the conceit of the story is that there's a gap left. Nobody else can do Inner World, and Lake Bell is this rising wannabe. She's a voice coach, but she also wants to be a voiceover artist. But it's in an industry in which basically having a low, male, growly voice is the thing which everybody accepts as industry standard. And her father is played by Fred Melman, who is absolutely brilliant. And he is this incredibly pompous, arrogant, full of himself, really sort of annoying character who is a great voicing legend. And he sort of overshadows everything until it turns out that his daughter, played by Lake Bell, who also directs and writes, looks like she may be getting some of the gigs that he previously would have got, something to which he does not respond well. Here's a clip.
And the truth of the matter is, it probably wouldn't help you anyway, because let's face it, the industry does not crave a female sound.
Yeah, Dad, you made me painfully aware of that my whole life.
Not being sexist, that's just the truth.
Okay.
And this whole voice cracking problem you've grown into isn't doing any favors either. But here's what I'm trying to say, sweetheart, okay? You should stick with the accents. I mean, that's your thing. That's what you're good at. What was that Russian Star Wars thing you used to do as a kid?
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about. But Dad, can we...
No, what was it?
It was... don't make me do it right now.
Come on.
Dad, I don't want to do it right now.
Please, let me hear it.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
I just love that. It's so random.
So
I can do voices like that.
Can you?
Yeah.
Go on.
I mean, no.
No, you're not going to do them now
No, I can't
because
do
you're on the
them now.
radio. But
Yeah.
you can't do Inner World.
No, I can't do it.
He was a cat. She was a dog. Together they were cat and dog. And so what it does, it
This
takes...
is like an audition tape for you, isn't it?
Have I not got the gig?
No, I just think, you need a voiceover agent who
Yeah.
can go out and
You're
say,
going-
look at all these voices he can do. Such breadth.
The thing that's good about this is that on the one hand, it takes... Everybody sort of knows that Inner World thing, but it's not an area of the industry that has been overly served by Hollywood movies in the past. And in the case of Lake Bell, she has a degree of insider knowledge, but it does that thing about it knows its territory. It knows you're alone. No, it doesn't. It knows its territory, but what it doesn't do is just sort of smug insider self-referentiality. So the story is basically if a woman trying to make it in a man's world while surrounded by all this kind of institutionalized, her father, family dysfunction, gender inequality, all those things are going on, and some of the humour is very sort of sharp and very snarky. There is a romance in there, so there's a thing which says, okay, well, actually, we might be attempting to soften it. But what I liked about it is it doesn't attempt to soften its sarkier, snarkier moments. In fact, some of it is sort of properly bitter in a way which I really, really like.
Is snarky the same as sarky?
No, sarky is sarcastic and
yes.
snarky is more snidey.
So snark and snide is the same?
Snark and snide is similar, yeah, and sarcastic is like...
I know what sarcastic is.
Yeah, it's like irony is sarcasm with A-levels.
So
Snarky is slightly nicer than snidey, but it's going that way.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
It
fine.
just helps to have a gradation.
So it has just enough bite, and it stays on the right side of bitter, despite the things that are in there that are adding a kind of a sort of personal schmaltzy element, which it doesn't shy away from entirely. But it takes an industry that by the end of it you feel like you've seen the nooks and crannies of it, and actually just a documentary on that industry would probably have rich pickings anyway. I think she handles it really well. I think that I laughed consistently all the way through it, and again, I mean, it passed the 6th last test very, very early on, and it wasn't just because I know you say I love all that Inner World thing, and it is true that just from the poster and the title I was kind of predisposed to like it, but it would have been so easy therefore to have taken that and blown any promise that premise had, but it didn't. It did what I wanted it to do. The characters were very well observed. Fred Melman is absolutely brilliant. Lake Bell is funny and snarky and sarky and snappy and snippy and sharp.
snidey.
But she's not snidey. No, she's not snidey. She's snarky. And I laughed in that kind of bittersweet, but with the closer to bitter all the way through, and I thought it was really funny. I don't think it's going to be a huge hit, incidentally, but I think it deserves to do well.